There comes a time in every crypto YouTube channel's life where it needs to set a certain amount of credibility by reviewing a meme coin. Today is that day, and I've made my decision. Today I'm going to be reviewing Dogelon Mars. For those of you wondering, yes, that is actually how it is pronounced, and this is indeed an intentional effort by the team or the founding members, or at least the community, to separate themselves from the other myriad of Doge-related meme coins out there. And I think it does a very successful job of doing just that. Obviously, we can see the meme-tastic value in the entire name itself with Doge, Elon Musk, and Mars, of course, relating to the moonshot capability, but just a little bit further on its way to Mars. Now, this review isn't going to be entirely about its name, I promise. And to start off, we're really going to be covering the main aspects that separate this from probably all your other meme coins. But before we dive too far in, I have to obviously give this a disclaimer. This isn't financial advice, and this is a meme coin. No doubt about it. This is no different than any other meme coin out there. And I'm not going to go too in depth into the risks inherent with meme coins. So I think you should understand that, but do understand that they don't really have much utility, and it's not really a good investment opportunity unless you're just considering it gambling. So keep that all in mind while you're looking at this as a token. It's really more of a, here's $20 on black to see what happens sort of thing. And this is no different with Dogelon Mars. Now, let's start off with the total supply. There were created 1 quadrillion in an effort to just be another meme coin with an absolutely ridiculous circulating supply. And I love it. Why stop at a quadrillion and not just go a little bit further? But I digress. The team, in order to establish some sort of credibility, because we do not know who the team is, they are completely anonymous, as usually happens with a lot of meme coins. However, they want to create some credibility in order to state that they're not going to be giving a rug pull. And they did this in a number of ways that helps kind of make them unique and try to separate them from a lot of the potential rug pulls or the meme coins that don't go through this effort. Now, the first step they went through was in an effort to kind of publicize the brand, but also take something that was borrowed from SHIB, which worked out very well for SHIB, was donating half of the circulating supply, or the total supply, to Vitalik. Yes, the very same Ethereum founder. Now, Vitalik himself did further donate that to a foundation that's looking to fight against aging itself. Now, I did a brief look into the foundation. It does seem legit, does seem mentioned a number of times, so that organization seems as though it is actually something that is real and not perhaps maybe just the group again. Again, if you want to go a little bit further, you might find that I'm probably going to be doing some glazing views on some of these informations. Again, it's a place on black sort of bet when it comes to a meme coin for me. So if you really are thinking about this as an investment opportunity, you got to dive a little bit deeper yourself. Now, the thing I want to mention about that organization is that they did state that they would wait about a year up to before they would actually cash out any of those tokens. They were very thankful for the donation and do appreciate the entire community as a whole, and they have acknowledged the Dogelon Mars community. That 1 year period, I didn't actually vet when that is. You may want to take a look at that. And my only real concern with that is obviously, well, that's not a locked supply. That supply is out on the market. So about half that quadrillion is sitting out there potentially ready to be sold. And eventually that donation will want to be sold off in some part to make some money, because no donation is worth anything if the value isn't redeemed at some point for that community, that membership, that organization to further use that inside of its organization, right? So keep an eye out for that if you are maybe considering, a little bit in this, because it is one of those things that could potentially do a huge impact to price if they were to liquidate a very large amount of it. Now, obviously they can liquidate 1 million tokens and that probably doesn't ding it that much at half a quadrillion, but it still is something to understand that those are there and held by one group. So it's not one person, but it's one group. So that's an interesting thing. However, what I will say about the play and the actual publicity stunt that the anonymous founders did provide was it kind of works. I mean, it seems like a legit task. Obviously, it was given to Vitalik first. His decision to further give it off was his decision, and that's up to him. But what I'll say is, obviously, SHIB did very good. SHIB did apparently the exact same thing. So no, that is something that came by with SHIB. So something to be considered. The second thing that the team actually went by to kind of set aside that credibility was in the other section, the other half of their total supply, they placed into a liquidity pool, provided the second side of that liquidity pool with $100,000 of their own money, and apparently burnt the liquidity pool token. Now, I have not vetted this. going back to my statement earlier, if you want to invest in this and you're looking to put more money than a few bits of pocket change, then you're going to want to do a little more research on those in-depth pieces to find out the validity of them. I don't know where that came from, whether it was a social media post or who's saying they actually burnt those liquidity tokens, but that is what has been said and is stated in several articles. Those articles are probably just regurgitating what they found from each other, and I didn't find any sources. So look into that a little bit further. But that is another one of those efforts that at least the community and the project as a whole is pushing forward to say, hey, look, this is us not doing our rug pull. And if this is indeed true, I would say all of these facts are probably good things to, have for a project to show that there isn't that rug pull potential. In that effort to make it that fair launch, they really did one of the best ways possible. Give out tokens, put the rest there, now go purchase. That said, when you're purchasing this token, there's no utility. Like I said, this is a meme coin through and through. There's nothing going on with this. So this doesn't do anything other than hold in your wallet for potential future speculative trading into the future. Something to be understood when you're buying into it. If you do want a major investment that's got some dividends, this is not the place. They have mentioned potentially into the future, and I'll talk about it a little later on, talking about a staking mechanism. And stick around for the video to see what that is. But that would potentially be another reason that this might separate itself as a meme coin, right? That might be something a little bit more interesting that they could grow out onto. I don't know if that's one I'm gonna hold my breath on, again, but I would look at it as a prospect of if they followed through, it would put a little bit more credibility in there. The next step that they've really also been pushing forward is an NFT comic related to the entire platform. We're gonna take a look here in a second when we jump over to the screens, and that is the first of those steps where they've said to continue the community growth and whatnot. Now the community as a whole is probably what you wanna look at when it comes to a meme coin. So they do have a decently sized community. We'll take a look at Onchain analytics in a second. We'll also take a look at the Twitter profile and all that. The community itself is involved in more donations, following in the footsteps of the original founders or the developers who donated half to Vitalik. Apparently, it is within that community to provide more of those donations and has been sort of driven home as a value within the community to provide potential people who have had rug pulls provided on them with some of these Dogelon tokens as a sign of good faith, to also put them in a good light. And I think that's an interesting perspective that we should also consider when it comes to separating yourself, one as a meme coin, but also again saying, hey, we're not a toxic group of people and we're a good group of people and we want to provide some sort of value even though we have no real utility out there. So all of this is very interesting. But as I said, it is still a meme coin and we should take a look at both sides of those tokens while we go have a look at the screen. So let's take a look at what they also don't have to offer and what we're looking at when we land on their website. And if we head on over to the website, this is our main landing page of what they have to offer us. And usually what we're gonna do for a project is we're gonna look at, not only Onchain, but we're gonna look at what's the white paper, who's the team, what are they offering, what's their storefront that they're presenting to us as a team. When it comes to a meme token, that's probably gonna be social channels that you really need to pay attention to, but I figured we'd stop off and see our handsome young avatar here, who's really the icon for the brand. Spitting image of our Mr. Musk. And this is what we're provided with. It's really just join the community, get involved with the team, and you can see as of the time of this being posted up here, 90K followers on the Dogelon Mars Twitter. They actually have a second one. So I think the second one is, this is their Twitter and this is their Telegram. They have a second, several other Twitters related to other portions of it. So they're growing the community in different places. That portion that they're growing is related to the comic. So they don't have a white paper or any, again, real utility at this point, or into the future, and I'm gonna cover that in a second. But they do have this cute little comic, which it seems like is probably their first foray into providing some sort of continuation in the brand, and it's going to be an NFT series related behind this. And I believe it's called Dogelon Martians, or Doge, something related to that Martians. Dogelon, I keep pronouncing it Dogelon. It's Dogelon Martians. So if we look at the Twitter, we can actually see that this is the other one, and it has 27,000 followers, almost 28,000 followers. This is gonna be the NFT release, and they look like they're building some sort of, again, NFT relationship behind that. that is probably the biggest portion that's continuing to go forward and things that are actually doing anything. As far as the website, again, there's nothing down here. There's no real other fact. There's no other information related behind it. Again, backing any of the validity of the claims I have made earlier on in this video. The one other major thing that would provide it some sort of future potential is that it has been, I've seen it in many articles at this point. However, the one article that I can sort of cite that was found the biggest source to it was pointing to a Medium article that has been taken down. And that is related to the staking function potentially the developers are working on. So they want to provide a secondary governance token called elon, which would be a staking token that you could use to stake your elon in order probably for that token and provide an APY to you. So that would give some investment opportunity for actual investments and entice them to potentially get more involved beyond what it is. This is an important feature, I think, for a lot of people who would be seriously considering this a little bit more than a completely speculative investment, like again, like gambling, like $100, $50, whatever you got in your pocket. And if that were the case, that could be a big help to the entire ecosystem as a whole. We know SHIB actually had its own sort of exchange and its own sort of like platform it was trying to develop, and that actually did very well for it. It's those sort of like moves in the right direction that help a lot with, again, the project, because it helps push it in people's minds that maybe there's something coming out of this meme coin, and I think people want to believe it, so then boom, next thing you know, it's newsworthy news. Again, I want to state the fact that the only citation I saw in this article was pointing to a Telegram that I went to that actually doesn't go anywhere. And if you actually look at their Medium article, that actually goes to a Medium article. That Medium article has been taken down, and when you actually go to their Medium page, they only have a few weekly roundups that are outdated at this point. So there isn't much backing to that statement, so I wouldn't hold that down as you can. I think any early investors might be very pleasantly surprised and pleased if it does show up. But if you're looking to hold on for that, I wouldn't hold your breath. Now, I do think it's a good opportunity to take a look at the price and see what action it has done in the past to see where we could potentially go, because as we know with even a lot of the other meme coins, even Dogecoin itself, on the last bull run, and I'll take a look at that a little bit later, it provided an almost 250x return, which is absolutely fantastic for a meme coin that's outdated. It's old news. It's like, why would you still be holding that? It still outperformed a lot of other things in the space. So let's take a look at some of the lows and we'll do a calculation from the highs. I'll bring out the calculator and I'll see you on the other side of this edit. Trying to fumble my way through the zeros involved after the period. That would have been a 33x from its creation, early in point here. Not necessarily even this point, but it would have been this low after it had already done a spike to this high point here. Now we can look at the trajectory that it's had from this point and just make sort of a visual like TA from that point, is that yes, obviously everything's falling here. We did see a little bit of a spike after this sort of creation period where everything else also managed to do a little bit of a pump as well. That said, can we see that again? That's a question that we have to ask, you know, the meme gods. Is it going to happen again? We've seen a lot of the other meme coins manage to do it. So if you are thinking of this one as being one of the ones that you want to put in your portfolio, then it's potential that it could very least get back to that sort of point. From where we currently are, that would roughly be a 7x to get back to the all-time high. So as far as trying to reach that, that's not really, I think, a goal you want to go for holding a meme coin, especially if you're only putting in like $100. I mean, yeah, sure, nice that you didn't even think about it, but there's a lot more potential behind that if this is a true meme coin on its way to Mars. Something I did find interesting is while making this video, you can actually see trending on CoinMarketCap is SHIB. And I've actually seen, since I started making it, go from 4% to 8%, which is very interesting because these are the kind of signs that you want to see that help perpetuate other meme coins or things in that category. So it's very interesting and serendipitous timing when it comes to making this video. Something I also wanted to do while we're here was just quickly show you the case for separating yourself from any of the myriad of other Doge or dog related coins out there, and just meme coins in general, on how I could never potentially look at all of them. But let's just type in the word dog and see the 100 results of what we are potentially looking with. Light Doge, Classic Doge, Doge Killer, Doge. I mean, I love some of these names, but look at that. I mean, they're in the thousands. They're in the thousands and they're ranked very low. So a lot of these are very useless. And something to be known about Dogelon, is it's 180, it's a 150. It's number 150. So Dogelon Mars is actually significantly higher than a very large amount of the dog related tokens, right? So this puts it in a higher regard, especially when it comes to those meme tokens. Now Doge is number 10. 150 is not that far off. I mean, honestly, when it comes to the 20,000 available tokens of crypto projects out there, it puts it in a place that's a little bit more understandable for, oh, it's moving its way up. I'm gonna keep my eye on you. While we're here, I wanna take a look at the total addresses as it's been for the last 3 months. This little feature on CoinMarketCap that just kind of at least gives us a visual representation that the addresses have been accumulating, they've been increasing. So we've been seeing a steady upward tick of people holding this or new address created. So you take that for what it is, but holding addresses is usually some sort of indication of how many people are aware of what's going on. We'll take a look at Dogecoin and SHIB at the end. While we're here, I think it is important to take a look at the Onchain just to kind of look at the top tokens or holders that are actually holding onto that token you're looking to get into. And as you can see, it's nicely labeled here. This is the foundation that is fighting the aging, and they have 43%. So there's clearly been some percentage sold somewhere. Now, whether it was Vitalik who had a little bit, maybe they've started selling some already, but that is nice to see that they are the largest holder by far. Now, underneath that, we do have a 20% holding on this particular token. Now, I haven't been able to confirm 100% what it is, but if we do click on it, we can see transactions going in mostly, and quite large sums, but coming from a number of different exchanges out there that have been listed as other ones below. But what I found was actually kind of interesting is every time I scroll through to the next page, the only thing that leaves out is to crypto.com, and it's its number 2 pool for what looks like SHIB, what looks like Dogelon. So it's only ever going out to crypto.com. So maybe this is some sort of transition to, providing liquidity for that. So as we are here looking at the 140,000 holders on Etherscan, a little bit more confirmation than CoinMarketCap, that's not the largest amount for a meme coin, right? So this is a number that we're used to seeing for some traditional larger market cap projects out there. It's not something where it's too small, but it's not the biggest out there. I will say that there's a few extra on the Polygon chain that actually has another 17,000. So we're in the 150, 160,000 even to stretch it to say that that's what they have available on there. But to put it into perspective on a real meme coin, we take a look at SHIBs. SHIBs actually has about 1.2 million holders. So that's the difference between a token that's known in the crypto space and a token that's known by retail investors, okay? That's a very big point to make. Retail is gonna be heavy when they flood in. When that hits the news, if that's something that gets onto some major networks and a lot of people start seeing it and they start seeing some crazy numbers and this snowball effect, you go from those sub-million to the millions when it comes to holders. And that's a big jump that we have to see yet, but that still means you're very early. Here is the Dogelon Mars Twitter following, and as we can see, it's 519,000, although the website says 650,000. So either they've lost some followers or some numbers are getting a little fudged there somewhere in the transaction. I'm not sure what it is related to, but it's still a very large following for a token out there, a project that really doesn't have much utility or any other reason to follow it. What I will say is across the internet, searching it, whether you're looking on Telegram, Twitter, the community is pretty in depth into it. They really obviously want this meme coin to take off. And something else to speak about the community is that it has been noted in a number of articles I read and doing a little research for this, that the community has been pushed by the community founders to actually give back to the community of crypto as a whole and really help out people perhaps who are part of scams and other rug pulls by donating them actual Dogelon Mars tokens in an effort to generate that good faith within the community, which I think is actually a really interesting tactic and something really useful to do because, yeah, it would provide them with like a diehard group of people who were saying, I'm in a rug pool, someone donated me 1,000 of these, 100,000, whatever the value, right? And it doesn't make me whole, but it's still gonna put them in a positive light. And to their credibility, they have seemed to be the kind of people who do look to be bringing up other donations and providing people with that sort of like supportive crypto aspect to the entire space. So that's an interesting thing to see coming out of it. It's not really toxic, which we're usually used to seeing from a lot of other crypto projects, even reputable ones that have a lot going on. People can be very serious fanboys, and it's nice to see ones that are fanboys, but with a positive twist. So in order to kind of bring this full circle and at least show the potential of a meme coin, if at all any of this sort of sparks your interest as like, maybe this is the meme coin for me, let's look at the big brothers and what the potential to grow into. Now, taking a look at something like Doge, the Doge father, so to speak, of the meme space, the potential from even hearing about it post previous crypto bull run and in these low numbers here, I did really quick math earlier on, and between here and selling out on the high would have been a 250x gain. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, that even on a meme coin that is old, it's seen its heyday, it still had a much larger return than a lot of other very valuable projects that are providing good value for the space and have utility. So there is potential for meme coins to really moonshot out, become household names, and you can see what retail investors really can do to a project if they're got hold of, okay? Now, one step further, let's look at sort of the stepchild, so to speak, of SHIB, and the value between here and actually moving yourself all the way up to here was about an 8,000x gain. So to put this all into a little bit of perspective for you of an $100 investment, again, we're talking about those small numbers with Dogecoin having its heyday, putting in a $100 investment on that 250x gain would have been $25,000 walk away that you could have potentially sold out if you got right at the top, right? Obviously, it's very top numbers. SHIB, if you had to put in the $100, your 8,000% gain, or 8,000x, would have been $800,000. So you really didn't have to put much in to get the returns you were looking for. Now, as we can see, traditionally, they're probably not going to peak as high their second time. Doesn't mean they're not going to, but you can realistically expect that, say, SHIB won't necessarily do an 8,000, maybe it'll do a 4,000x on the next one. And I'm not guaranteeing that, I'm just saying if it has the same fervor it had on this round, the next bull rally, it could potentially see itself still getting up there. And even if it was 1,000% gain, right? Your $100 investment is a lot of money. And that's the potential that meme coins have. This is why people are so interested in them and really just don't care if they're gambling when it comes to it, because you don't have to gamble with much. And this is kind of where I'm probably gonna wrap up my entire thoughts on the entire thing. The only way meme coins work, as long as you understand that, and I need to hammer it down, and again, here's my disclaimer, it's not financial advice, but when it comes to gambling, if you're gambling with a very small percentage of what you have to play with, pennies equivalent, right? So you have a $10,000 portfolio, $100 is the equivalent of a dime sort of thing. If you're putting that in and it has the potential for an 8,000x gain, that risk to reward really isn't that crazy. However, if you are putting a larger percentage of your portfolio into it, you're obviously really pissing in the wind. And I couldn't think of a better way to say it, but you're just going against a lot of things that are probably gonna end in tears. If they don't, you'll be a multimillionaire and you get your Lambo. So it depends on how much risk you wanna do. For me, any one of these that I come across that I actually do like, I would probably be again considering those small amounts of money, pocket change, that would be potentially something exciting I see down the road because it did, yes, actually meme to the moon or to Mars in this case. So now there's almost infinite amount of meme coins out there, and I can't possibly go through all of them or even know what they all have to offer. If you have some you want to talk about, leave them in the comments, tell me which ones are going to do better than Dogelon. But what I will say is that what I've seen from just a quick, you stop in, you take a look at a project and see what it has going on, those few features of which the team went to try and mitigate its sort of statement that it could be a rug pull are nice features to see. To see a community that isn't necessarily toxic and then more positive and is driven towards the donation route is also a positive thing to look out for. So for me, in my perspective, I see this as one of those more friendly potential gambles if you're going to gamble, and yes, the word is gamble. I do like those features to this kind of a meme coin. I think it's cute. I think the entire perspective behind it is something there. It does have that potential for other things down the road, but maybe you want to wait to actually see the elon come out. Maybe you want to actually see those NFTs come out and get a little bit more traction behind what the project's been saying it's going to do to see if they're following through on their word. Remember, keep an eye out on that foundation money to see if it starts being liquidated, because if that comes onto the market heavy and fast, then it could be something that could really drive price down. Now, I think they're probably gonna wait for possibly the next bull rally, if anything, and you should too if you were to look to get in now. If you were to get in now, remember, probably best with just a small amount. I think this is the point to remind you that nothing here is financial advice. Yes, it is just an opinion. Some guy on YouTube talking to a camera screen, so take it with a grain of salt. But if you did find any value, knowledge, entertainment, or learned something, then you know what to do. Like, subscribe, it really does help the channel, and I appreciate it. Leave a comment down below if you have another meme coin you think is better, or what you thought of my meme coin review. Now, it wasn't a terribly in-depth review, but I needed to set some set of credibility and get a meme coin out there. I just need to get one out there, because how could I possibly know what I'm talking about without doing a meme coin review, right? Appreciate you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.